When you think of California wealth, you picture Hollywood moguls or the tech bros of Silicon Valley. You're looking in the wrong places. Hidden behind strip malls, server farms, and heavily guarded Beverly Hills estates is a different kind of money. We are exposing the Chinese dynasties quietly dominating the Golden State. From the family controlling America's internet infrastructure to the billionaire who just bought the Los Angeles Times, these are the richest Chinese families in California. Number 10. The Lee family, the gatekeepers of luxury. If you want to understand how trans-Pacific wealth operates in Southern California, you don't look at banks, you look at the San Gabriel Valley. At the absolute center of this ecosystem is the Lee family, founders of the Hing Wa Lee Group. The family's patriarch, Hing Wa Lee, started as a master gem carver. But it was his son, David Lee, who engineered the ultimate power pivot. He realized that the rapidly growing demographic of wealthy Chinese immigrants and tourists in California didn't just want jewelry, they wanted status symbols. He transformed the family business into the premier authorized dealer of Rolex and luxury timepieces for the Asian diaspora in America, building massive European-style retail palaces in the heart of Los Angeles County. Their wealth is protected by a ruthless real estate strategy. David Lee didn't just rent retail space, he bought the dirt. He poured the massive cash flows from high-end retail into a sprawling commercial real estate portfolio across Southern California. But their true power move is the Ferrari collection. David Lee doesn't just buy supercars, he is one of the very few VIP clients on Earth officially approved by Maranello to purchase their hyper-exclusive hypercars straight from the factory. He owns the Enzo, the F50, the F40, and the LaFerrari. This isn't just a hobby, it is a global flex that money alone cannot buy. Hing Wa Lee Jewelers isn't just a shop. It is an unofficial nexus for international capital. When a newly arrived millionaire buys a $500,000 watch from the Lees, it isn't retail, it's an initiation into the local elite network. In the world of extreme wealth, access is everything. If you want a limited edition Ferrari or a multi-million-dollar timepiece in Southern California, you don't go to the brand. You go to the Lees. Their status signals that you have officially arrived. Number 9. The Zhu family, the last mile masters. We move from physical luxury to digital logistics. Tony Xu, born Xu Xun in Nanjing, China, before immigrating to the United States, is the architect of a delivery empire that has fundamentally rewired the California economy. As the co-founder and CEO of DoorDash, the Xu family's wealth was forged in the dorm rooms of Stanford and accelerated by the modern gig economy. The money was made by mastering the most difficult algorithm in commerce: local logistics. The Xu family didn't build a restaurant, they built a digital railroad. They realized that whoever controls the delivery network controls the entire food ecosystem. Their fortune is protected by aggressive market share acquisition. While competitors burned out, DoorDash relentlessly expanded from food into groceries, alcohol, and retail. They entrenched themselves so deeply into the daily habits of consumers that they became an indispensable utility. The power move occurred during the global pandemic. While brick-and-mortar businesses across California collapsed, DoorDash became the oxygen supply for the restaurant industry. The Xu family's algorithms effectively dictated the terms of survival for tens of thousands of local businesses. They set the fees, they controlled the data, and they owned the customer relationship. DoorDash is not just a food app, it is an infrastructure company. They employ a massive fleet of independent contractors to execute the physical labor, while the founders capture the immense digital wealth generated by the platform's efficiency. True power isn't making the product. True power is controlling the toll booth between the product and the consumer. The Xu family proved that if you own the final mile of distribution, you own the entire market. Number 8. The Chen family, the silent landlords. At number 8, we have a family that executed one of the most brilliant strategic pivots in modern wealth history. Chen Tianqiao became a billionaire in his 30s by founding Shanda Interactive, a company that hooked millions of Chinese teenagers on online gaming. But today, his base of operations is the San Francisco Bay Area, and his game is entirely different. The Chen family protected their fortune by executing a massive shift from digital pixels in Asia to untouchable hard assets in the United States. Following a severe health scare, Chen stepped away from the gaming empire, moved to California, and began quietly buying up America. Their ultimate power move was geographic. The Chen family acquired nearly 200,000 acres of timberland in Oregon. This massive acquisition made Chen Tianqiao the 82nd largest private landowner in the United States. He didn't just buy a mansion, he bought a territory larger than many small nations. Simultaneously, he deployed his capital into the highest tiers of California academia. The family established the Tianqiao and Chrissy Chen Institute at Caltech with a reported $115 million donation. They moved from exploiting the human brain with addictive games to mapping and decoding it in a laboratory. The Chen family didn't just retire to Silicon Valley, they executed a masterclass in wealth preservation. They traded the volatile regulatory environment of Chinese tech for American soil and Ivy League prestige. When foreign billionaires want to bulletproof their fortunes, they buy American land and American institutions. The Chen family bought the ultimate status symbol: undeniable geographic sovereignty. Number 7. The Z family, the cybersecurity barons. While other tech founders seek fame, the Z family seeks invisible control. Ken Z, born in Beijing and educated at Stanford, is the founder of Fortinet, one of the largest cybersecurity firms on the planet. Based in Silicon Valley, the Z family wealth is built on the most primal emotion in the corporate world: fear. The money was made by building the military-grade firewalls that protect the networks of multinational corporations, telecom giants, and sovereign government agencies. Fortinet creates the invisible armor that keeps the digital economy from collapsing. This wealth is protected by the ultimate enterprise lock-in. Once a Fortune 500 company or a government agency integrates Fortinet's security architecture into their systems, the switching costs become astronomically high. It guarantees a river of recurring revenue that flows directly into the Z family's holdings. The power move is staying quietly ahead of global threats. As state-sponsored hacking and AI-driven cyber warfare escalate, the demand for the Z family's product becomes non-negotiable. They are the premier arms dealers in a digital war that the public never sees. The media obsesses over the founders of social media apps that sell targeted ads. But real, enduring tech wealth is about security infrastructure. The Z's don't sell attention, they sell survival. At this elite level of wealth, your biggest fear isn't a stock market crash, it's a catastrophic data breach. The Z family holds the keys to the digital castle, and in the modern economy, the man who builds the locks holds all the leverage. Number 6. The Yang family, the Silicon Valley godfathers. To understand the architecture of Chinese-American power in California, you must look at the pioneers. Jerry Yang, born in Taiwan and raised in San Jose, virtually invented the internet billionaire archetype when he co-founded Yahoo in the 1990s. The initial money was made by creating the front page of the early internet. But the Yang family's true wealth is about what happened after the dot-com bubble. The wealth is protected by AME Cloud Ventures, Yang's private investment vehicle. After leaving Yahoo, he didn't retreat to a private island. He became one of the most prolific and influential angel investors in California, backing hundreds of data-driven startups and cementing his status as the ultimate Silicon Valley kingmaker. His legendary power move occurred in 2005. Yang engineered Yahoo's $1 billion investment into a then unproven Chinese e-commerce company called Alibaba. It remains one of the single most lucrative bets in the history of venture capital, returning tens of billions of dollars and bridging the gap between Asian capital and California innovation. The public associates him with a legacy web portal that eventually lost the search war to Google. What they miss is that Yang transitioned into the ultimate gatekeeper of tech wealth. To maintain elite status in California, you cannot simply rest on your past billions. You have to be the person the next generation of founders comes to for capital, validation, and permission. The Yang family operates the ultimate velvet rope in Silicon Valley. Number 5. The Churn family, the real estate empire in a takeout box. We step out of Silicon Valley and head to Rosemead, California, the headquarters of a family that pulled off one of the greatest financial illusions in American history. Andrew and Peggy Churn are the billionaire founders of Panda Express. On the surface, the money was made by selling high-volume, fast-casual orange chicken in mall food courts and airports across the country. But that is merely the cash generation mechanism. Their wealth is protected by the Huang Family Trust. They pool the astronomical daily cash flow from their thousands of restaurants and deploy it directly into premium commercial real estate. They have quietly bought up office buildings in Pasadena, luxury hotels, and massive retail centers across the United States. The ultimate power move was their absolute refusal to franchise. Unlike McDonald's, Subway, or Burger King, the Huang family privately owns and operates virtually all of their 2,300-plus locations. This means they don't split the profits with franchisees, and more importantly, they capture 100% of the equity. The Huangs are not in the restaurant business. They are a private equity and real estate holding company operating under the guise of a fast food chain. This is the ultimate wealth cheat code. Use retail cash flow to acquire appreciating hard assets without taking on massive debt. The Huang family proves that true generational power isn't about the food you serve. It's about the untouchable ground you own underneath it. Number 4. The Yuan family, the architects of the remote world. In San Jose, California, sits a family whose surname literally became a verb. Eric Yuan, born in Shandong, China, built a fortune by reshaping how human beings interact. As the founder of Zoom Video Communications, his wealth was supercharged by a global crisis, but it was built on a decade of relentless engineering. The money was made by creating an enterprise video platform that was frictionless. In a market crowded with clunky corporate software, Yuan built a system that simply worked. The wealth is protected by institutional adoption. When the world shut down, governments, Ivy League universities, and Fortune 500 boardrooms defaulted to his code. The switching costs became immense. Once an entire global workforce is trained on your platform, displacing you is nearly impossible. The power move behind Zoom is the ultimate corporate revenge story. For years, Yuan was a lead engineer at WebEx, owned by Cisco. He pleaded with management to rebuild their flawed product. They ignored him. So he left, took his best engineers, and built a platform that completely obliterated his former employer's market dominance. Zoom was not a lucky pandemic fluke. In reality, Yuan had spent years building a superior digital architecture that was simply waiting for a catalyst. True power is achieving structural dominance. When a family's product becomes the default mode of human communication, their status completely transcends the stock price. The Yuan family doesn't just own a software company, they own the modern boardroom. Number 3. The Kingston dynasties, the invisible hardware kings. If you want to find $23 billion hidden in plain sight, you have to look in Orange County. David's son and John Tu, born in Taiwan and mainland China respectively, are the founders of Kingston Technology. We group these lifelong partners together because their wealth strategy is identical, and it is the most secretive in California. The money was made in a garage in the 1980s, manufacturing the memory chips and storage drives that physically power the global PC and server markets. They don't build the flashy software, they build the absolute hardware necessities. Their vast wealth is protected by one strict, unbreakable rule: absolute privacy. Kingston Technology has never gone public. They answer to no Wall Street analysts, they hold no public earnings calls, and they are immune to activist investors. They carry virtually zero debt. Their legendary power move occurred in the late 1990s. They sold an 80% stake in Kingston to SoftBank for a reported $1.5 billion. They then turned around and gave $100 million of that cash directly to their employees as a bonus, ensuring absolute, cult-like loyalty. A few years later, when SoftBank needed cash, Sun and Tu bought the stake back for a fraction of the original price. It was a masterclass in financial leverage. You do not need to ring the bell at the New York Stock Exchange to become a mega-billionaire in California. In a state obsessed with IPOs, stock tickers, and media attention, True stealth wealth is entirely private. It means no SEC filings, no public scrutiny, and no board oversight, just pure, unadulterated multi-billion-dollar cash flow. Number 2. The Sun-Shiong family, the sovereigns of information and health. As we approach the absolute peak of power, the game shifts from building companies to buying institutions. Patrick Sun-Shiong, born in South Africa to Hakka Chinese parents, operates out of Los Angeles. He is not just a billionaire, he is a sovereign force of influence. The initial money was made in biotechnology. A brilliant surgeon and scientist, Sun-Shiong invented the blockbuster cancer drug Abraxane. He then sold 2 pharmaceutical companies in deals totaling nearly $9 billion. But it is how the wealth is protected that makes this family untouchable. Under the umbrella of Nantworks, Sun-Shiong controls a sprawling, labyrinthine network of patents, genomics firms, and healthcare data systems. He literally owns the intellectual property for the future of personalized medicine. The power move that elevated him beyond mere billionaire status was his pivot into cultural dominance. He didn't just buy a mega mansion in Bel Air. He bought the Los Angeles Times for $500 million in cash. He also bought a massive ownership stake in the Los Angeles Lakers. He is an institutional monopolist. By owning the city's paper of record and holding stakes in its most beloved sports franchise, he controls the narrative of Los Angeles itself. When you reach this echelon of extreme wealth, you no longer buy luxury goods. You buy the pillars of society. You buy the mechanisms that shape public perception, ensuring your family's influence is woven into the very fabric of the culture. Number 1. The Huang Family, the trillion-dollar emperor. And finally, we arrive at number 1. The family that doesn't just dominate California, but currently dictates the technological advancement of the entire human race. Jensen Huang, born in Taiwan, is the co-founder and CEO of Nvidia, headquartered in Santa Clara. The money was made by designing graphics processing units, or GPUs, originally intended to make video games look better. But Huang realized, long before anyone else, that the parallel processing power of a GPU was the exact architecture required for artificial intelligence. The Huang family's wealth is protected by an absolute, unbreakable moat. Jensen didn't just build hardware, he built CUDA, a proprietary software layer that locked every major AI developer on Earth into the NVIDIA ecosystem. The power move is the total subjugation of the tech elite. The biggest companies in the world, Google, Microsoft, Meta, and Tesla, are entirely dependent on NVIDIA. We are witnessing an era where men like Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg have to publicly grovel and wait in line to secure shipments of Huang's H100 chips. NVIDIA is no longer just a semiconductor company. It is the foundational utility for the next era of human intelligence. Huang didn't just build a product, he cornered the market on the new electricity. This is the absolute apex of power. When sovereign nations start hoarding your family's product for national security reasons, and when your company's valuation surges past $3 trillion, you are no longer just a billionaire CEO. You are a geopolitical superpower and the undisputed richest Chinese family in California. They have turned businesses into geopolitical fortresses. But as their influence grows, it begs the question, who really holds the leverage in the American West? If you enjoyed this deep dive into hidden power, hit the like button and subscribe to Global Status. We'll see you in the next one.